He won a Starship at a casino. It was the worst ship in the station, till everything changed. Kale stumbled into Starport Z1 to like a man who had lost everything but his stubborn hope. The station's lights were harsh, bouncing off metal corridors and glass panels, and the crowd around the central casino was a blur of alien shapes and colors. Some were tall and thin, with shimmering scales. Others were round and chattering, their voices high-pitched and annoying. Kale, human among them, felt like a small shadow trying to keep pace in a world that had no time for him. He had 1 credit left in his pocket. It's barely enough for a meal. His ship had been grounded days ago, damaged by a storm of asteroids, and every mechanic in the sector had laughed at him when he asked for a loan. No one believed he would get back into space. Kale's luck had been terrible, his options fewer. But he refused to leave without trying anything. The casino called to him. Neon signs flashed promises of fortune, win big, change your life. Kale's hands itched, not just for the money, but for the chance to reclaim a spark of control in a chaotic galaxy. Humans were known for daring, for recklessness. He would prove that tonight. Inside, the casino was alive with noise and energy. Chips clattered on glass tables, alien laughter echoed through the hall. The rich aroma of exotic food mingled with the metallic scent of machinery. Kale felt small, almost invisible, as he navigated between tables crowded with beings of every shape and size. Most ignored him. That suited him fine. He didn't need anyone to watch him fail. He approached a table labeled High-Stakes Starship Draw. It was a game where participants could gamble for vessels of varying value, some small cargo ships, others luxury cruisers. The stakes were high, the odds low, but Kale didn't care about the odds. He needed a ship. Any ship? The dealer, a 6-limbed alien with gold eyes and a permanent smirk, glanced at him. Human, it hissed. Are you sure you want to enter? Kale forced a grin, hiding his nerves. I'm sure. I've got 1 credit left. Let's do it. The dealer's eyes narrowed. Very well. Place your chip. Kale set down his single credit. He felt ridiculous. Around him, richer humans and aliens placed stacks of chips without a second thought. But Kale had no second thought to waste. The game began. Cards were dealt, dice rolled, and spinning wheels turned. Kale watched carefully, noting patterns, memorizing motions, relying on intuition more than luck. Every human in history had survived impossible odds with their wit. Why not him? Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Most competitors were eliminated, leaving Kale alone with 3 aliens who sneered openly at his tiny credit. He ignored them, focusing on the flickering screens that displayed the next draw. Then came the moment of truth, the final spin. The wheel slowed, the lights reflecting in Kale's determined eyes. It clicked past the expensive starships, the advanced cruisers, the glittering vessels. Then it stopped. Kale won. The crowd gasped. Some laughed in disbelief, others cheered. The dealer's smirk froze into a scowl. Kale leaned closer, trying not to believe it himself. A ship had been won with a single credit. A ship would be his. But when the doors of the prize hangar opened, his heart sank. The ship waiting for him was the worst vessel in the station. Its hull was scarred and scratched, the paint peeling, and the engines looked like they had seen decades of neglect. A sign hanging from its side read, "Humble Starling, least expensive in Z12." Aliens laughed openly, pointing at him. "The human wins a garbage heap." One yelled, "Ha! You'll never leave the dock alive." Kale forced a smile. "Looks worse than it is," he said quietly. But inside, doubt crept in. He had dreamed of piloting a ship that could soar across galaxies, not pushing a relic of a vessel barely capable of leaving orbit. Yet something deep inside told him not to give up. Humans survived by fighting the impossible, by turning weakness into strength. This ship would be no exception. He stepped aboard the Starling. The interior smelled of rust, oil, and old electronics. Seats were torn, screens flickered, and warning lights blinked in random patterns. The AI system that should have run diagnostics was offline, likely disconnected years ago. Every alarm beeped angrily at him, warning that the vessel was barely operational. Kale ignored the warnings. He ran his hand along the console, tracing wires and switches with careful attention. He noticed something odd, a faint energy signature in the ship's core, pulsing steadily. He didn't understand it yet, but it felt live, almost as if the ship itself was waiting for him to awaken it. He spent hours exploring every corner. The cargo bay was empty, except for a few crates of abandoned parts and dust-covered equipment. The navigation system was outdated, yet it had a hidden interface he could activate with a bit of patience. The ship groaned as if displeased with the attention. Cale laughed softly. "You and I," he said, "we're going to make this work." That night, he stayed aboard, watching the station lights through the hall windows. Around him, more impressive vessels docked and departed. Sleek cruisers, fast freighters, and heavily armed ships moved like living things. Controlled by pilots who had resources and experience he lacked, but Cale felt a spark of excitement. He began tinkering with the ship, learning its quirks. Some systems responded slowly, others unpredictably. Yet as he pressed buttons, adjusted levers, and rewired circuits, he realized the Starling had potential. It might be slow and old, but it was sturdy, and its I-core hinted at capabilities beyond the obvious. Humans could think, adapt, and improvise in ways no alien had predicted. By dawn, Cale had patched some of the worst faults. The engines were sputtering but functional. Life support hummed steadily. Communications flickered but transmitted. The ship was still a relic, but Cale could feel that the Starling had more to give than anyone realized as he prepared to dock for the day. A group of aliens approached, their faces filled with amusement and derision. "Human, your garbage heap isn't even space-worthy. How do you plan to survive out there?" one asked, his voice dripping with ridicule. Cale smiled, calm and confident. "I survive because I refuse to die where others expect me to. You'll see." The aliens laughed and walked away, shaking their heads. Cale didn't mind. They underestimated him, and that was exactly what he needed. Every human victory began with being underestimated. Late that night, alone in the cockpit, Cale noticed something remarkable. The faint energy signature in the ship's core was stabilizing, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. It was as if the Starling itself was alive, responding to him, waiting for the right moment. Cale didn't understand it yet, but he knew one thing. This ship was not just metal and wires. It was a challenge, a partner, and perhaps something more. He leaned back in his worn seat, looking at the stars beyond the hangar. Somewhere out there, adventure waited, danger waited, and humanity waited to show the galaxy its true power. Cale smiled. He might have won the worst ship in the station, but sometimes the worst ship carried the greatest opportunities. Tomorrow, he would take the Starling into space. Tomorrow, the aliens who laughed at him would see that humans survived not because they were strongest or fastest, but because they refused to accept limits. And tomorrow, Cale and his ship would begin a journey that no one, not even him, could have imagined. The night stretched on, as quiet and vast, with stars glimmering like distant promises. Cale felt ready. The Starling hummed softly beneath him, and he realized that sometimes fortune didn't come in the form of luxury or prestige. Sometimes fortune came wrapped in scrap metal. Waiting for someone brave enough to see its potential, Cale closed his eyes for a moment, imagining the endless space ahead. The challenges, the battles, the discoveries. The galaxy had mocked him, laughed at his tiny credit and his junk ship, but Cale felt a quiet confidence. The Starling and he were beginning something new, something extraordinary, and the galaxy would remember it. The adventure had begun. Cale woke to the hum of the Starling's engines. The first test of his ship would not wait. He had learned the station's routines and the docking schedules, and he was ready to take the Starling out into open space, even if only for a short flight. The hangar doors creaked as he pushed them open, and sunlighted, the station's artificial equivalent streamed across the battered hull. The other pilots in the station watched him with quiet amusement. "This human really is serious," one muttered, shaking his head as Cale's small ship creaked and groaned on its way toward the launch bay. Cale ignored them. Humans had always survived by thinking differently, by finding ways to make weak tools strong. He had no choice but to rely on his wits, his instincts, and the strange energy humming within the Starling's core. Once in orbit, Kale ran basic maneuvers. The Starling responded slowly at first, but the pulsing energy seemed to stabilize the engines. The ship wasn't fast, not yet, but it moved predictably, and Kale could feel its potential. He pushed the controls further, running tests on every system. Then he noticed it. A hidden panel near the ship's core, previously unnoticed, began to glow faintly. Kale opened it cautiously and discovered a small human-made AI module, ancient but fully functional. Its interface was simple, but its capacity was enormous. The AI recognized Kale immediately, greeting him in a calm digital voice. Pilot identified. Mission readiness unknown. Systems assessment required. Kale grinned. He wasn't alone in this after all. Good. Let's see what you can do. He spent hours working with the AI. Together they identified weaknesses, patched minor errors, and optimized energy flow. The Starling groaned and rattled, but Kale could feel it learning, adapting. By the end of the day, the ship was no longer just a relic. It had potential. Hidden potential. Kale's first real challenge came sooner than expected. As he approached the outer rim of the station, a squad of alien ships, sleek and armed with visible weapons, blocked the Starling's path. The aliens were notorious for hunting down weaker pilots to take their vessels or claim bounties. The Starling, to them, was an easy target. Human, one of the alien pilots called. Its voice sharp and metallic. You should not be here. Turn back. Kale laughed softly, a low sound that echoed in the cockpit. I don't think so. The aliens fired. Kale's instincts took over. He dodged, using every trick he knew. Sudden maneuvers, spinning to confuse targeting systems, ducking behind asteroids. The Starling was slow, yes, but it was sturdy. And Kale's piloting skills compensated for its weaknesses. The battle lasted longer than expected. Kale's small ship weaved between the alien fire, occasionally bouncing shots off the hull with minimal damage. The AI suggested maneuvers and calculated angles, helping Kale push the Starling beyond what anyone thought possible. Eventually, the aliens grew frustrated. Their faster, more powerful ships could not predict Kale's movements. The human and his ancient AI module had created something unpredictably, combination of instinct and computation that left the attackers confused and eventually retreating. Kale exhaled deeply. Leaning back in his seat, he had survived. But more importantly, he had proven that even the smallest, weakest ship could succeed with intelligence, creativity, and courage. Back in orbit, Kale began exploring the Starling's other secrets. The AI discovered hidden storage compartments containing old maps, partially completed technology blueprints, and a small crate labeled with a symbol Kale did not recognize. Inside the crate, he found a set of exotic crystals, pulsing with energy. He didn't know what they were, but the AI warned that they were unstable and potentially powerful. Looks like we've got more than just a ship, Kale said, inspecting the crystals. We've got work to do. Over the next few days, Kale and the AI worked to integrate the crystal's energy into the ship's systems. It was tricky. The crystals could amplify engine output, shield strength, and even weapon efficiency. But if handled incorrectly, they could overload the ship entirely. Kale's hands shook sometimes as he connected wires and calibrated systems, but he never gave up. Humans thrived on challenges that seemed impossible. The Starling began to change. Its engines hummed louder, responding to commands faster. The shields could now withstand blasts that would have destroyed the ship before. Sensors could detect threats before they arrived. The Starling, once mocked as a junk heap, was slowly becoming a force to be reckoned with. Kale knew this was only the beginning. Word of his unusual maneuvers in the station had begun to spread. Pilots whispered about the human in the worst ship, a man daring enough to survive against impossible odds. Aliens who had laughed at him before now regarded him with suspicion, unsure of what he was capable of. Then came the warning. The station's communication network crackled with an urgent message. A massive fleet of alien raiders was moving toward human colonies in the nearby sector. Their intent was clear: they wanted to conquer, plunder, and dominate. The colonies had little defense. Most of the other ships in the station were either too slow, too damaged, or already deployed elsewhere. Cale stared at the screen, feeling the weight of responsibility. He could run, hide, or ignore it. But humans didn't survive by hiding. Humans survived by facing danger head-on, and the Starling was ready if he could convince it to cooperate. He rallied a small crew, mostly humans who had been underestimated by society, engineers, scavengers, and former traders. Each had skills overlooked by the aliens, skills Cale knew would make a difference. They joined him aboard the Starling, their eyes wide, but their determination unwavering. Together, they prepared for the approaching threat. Cale ran simulations, drilled maneuvers, and modified the Starling as much as he could. The ship groaned under the strain, systems sparking occasionally. But every modification made it stronger, more agile, and more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. The day of the first real confrontation arrived. Cale's Starling emerged from the station into open space. Ahead, the alien fleet stretched like a shadow, hundreds of ships, each faster, more powerful, more intimidating than the Starling. Yet Cale didn't flinch. He had something they did not: creativity, unpredictability, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. The first volley of alien fire slammed into space around the Starling. Cale's crew reacted quickly, manning weapons, adjusting shields, and following his lead. The Starling weaved, dodged, and counterattacked. The AI calculated angles, trajectories, and energy flow, while Cale improvised. Predicting enemy tactics based on observation and intuition, the aliens were confused. They expected a slow, weak ship to be an easy target. Instead, they faced a pilot who used strategy, courage, and the Starling's hidden potential to survive. Cale's crew shouted in excitement as their attacks hit alien ships in ways no one expected. Asteroids, debris, and cleverly deployed traps turned the battlefield into chaos, a human battlefield. Hours passed like minutes. The alien fleet, though larger and stronger, could not predict the Starling's movements. Cale and his crew had turned the tables. Each human instinct, every clever maneuver, was amplified by the AI and the energy from the crystals. Together they were more than a ship. They were a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. By the time the alien commanders realized their mistake, Cale had already damaged several key vessels, forcing the fleet to retreat. The colonies were safe for now. The Starling had survived, and Cale had proven that even the worst ship in the station could fight like a legend in human hands. As the Starling returned to orbit near the station, Cale looked at his crew. Exhausted, exhilarated, and proud, they shared a quiet understanding. The galaxy had underestimated them. The station's laughter and ridicule had been replaced with awe and cautious respect. Humans, once dismissed as reckless gamblers and weak pilots, had just shown that courage, ingenuity, and teamwork could overcome impossible odds. Cale knew the battle was only the beginning. The alien fleet would return, stronger and smarter. But now he had a ship capable of surprising the galaxy. A crew that trusted him, and a growing confidence in humanity's limitless potential. The Starling was no longer a junk ship. It was a symbol, a challenge, and a warning to anyone who thought humans could be ignored. As the sun, or the station's artificial suns, set over the hangar, Cale smiled. The Starling pulsed beneath him, alive in ways he was only beginning to understand. The galaxy had mocked him, laughed at his worst ship, and yet here he was, standing victorious, ready for whatever came next. The human spirit, unpredictable and relentless, had found its path, and nothing, not even the stars themselves, could stop it. Cale took a deep breath, knowing that greater dangers awaited, but for the first time, he felt truly ready. The Starling, the crew, and humanity itself were prepared to face whatever the universe threw at them. And when that day came, the galaxy would learn that humans were not to be underestimated, not in courage, not in creativity, and certainly not in heart. The journey had begun, and the Starling, once mocked and forgotten, would lead the way. Cale had never felt so alive. The Starling, once dismissed as a relic, now hummed with purpose beneath him. Every system worked in harmony with the AI and the mysterious crystals he had discovered. The small crew aboard the ship moved with confidence, their trust in Kale growing with every successful maneuver. For the first time, he felt that humans could truly show the galaxy what they were capable of. The news of their victory against the alien raiders spread fast. Traders, pilots, and even other colonies whispered about the human in the worst ship who had survived against overwhelming odds. Kale didn't care about fame. What mattered was preparation. The aliens would return, and next time, they would come smarter, stronger, and more organized. Kale spent days analyzing the crystals. Each one pulsed with a different energy, resonating with the Starling systems. The AI called it an adaptive amplification field, a way to enhance ship performance beyond what seemed possible. Kale realized this was more than luck. The Starling wasn't just strong because of humans, it was alive. "Reacting to human creativity and determination, Captain," said Mara, the ship's engineer, her fingers flying over a console. "I think these crystals can do more. We could increase shield output, engine power, even weapon range, but it might overload the systems." Kale nodded. "Humans survive by taking calculated risks. Let's see how far we can push it." The Starling shuddered as they activated the crystals fully. The engines roared louder, shields glowed faintly blue, and sensors sharpened. Kale grinned. The ship was no longer just a vessel, it was a weapon, a scout, symbol of human ingenuity. Their first test came sooner than expected. A distress signal appeared on the Starling's display. A nearby colony was under attack by a smaller alien scouting fleet. The colony had no defense ships left, and the inhabitants were scrambling for survival. Kale's crew looked at him. "This is our chance," he said. "We either help, or we watch them burn." Humans don't watch when they can act. With precision and speed, the Starling raced through space. The alien scouts were fast, armed with energy cannons and torpedoes, confident that a single ship could be eliminated icily. They had no idea what awaited them. Kale's strategy was simple but brilliant. Using the enhanced sensors and shields, he anticipated the enemy's movements. He led them into an asteroid field, weaving the Starling between rocks and debris, forcing the aliens to slow or risk collision. The AI calculated trajectories, and the crystals amplified the Starling's agility. The enemy ships, though more powerful, were unable to match the unpredictable maneuvers. The humans attacked in ways the aliens had not expected. Mara directed energy bursts from concealed weapon pods. Tal, the navigator, used the Starling's hidden thrusters to change direction mid-attack, confusing targeting systems. Kale himself coordinated each move, improvising and adjusting strategies in real time. One by one, the alien scouts fell or retreated. The colony watched in awe as the junk ship became a living weapon, striking with precision, creativity, and courage. Kale's heart swelled with pride not just for the victory, but for what it meant. Humanity could overcome technology through ingenuity, unpredictability, and sheer determination. After the battle, Kale set course for the colony. Survivors emerged, some cheering, others staring in disbelief. They had counted humans as weak, but now they had witnessed what humans could do when pushed to their limits. Kale didn't celebrate. He knew this was only the beginning. Days later, as the Starling orbited a distant star, the AI detected an anomaly in the ship's cargo bay. One of the crates had begun to glow faintly, resonating with the crystals. Kale opened it and found a small alien device, unlike anything he had seen before. It emitted a soft hum, pulsing in rhythm with the Starling's core. Mara studied it carefully. "This is advanced technology. Older than anything we've seen in this sector. It could amplify energy output even further, but it's dangerous. One mistake, and it could destroy the ship." Kale examined the device, thinking of the challenges ahead. "We've faced worse before," he said. "Humans survive by finding opportunity where others see danger. Let's see what it can do." Integrating the device into the Starling was a delicate process. Every adjustment had to be precise. The AI guided Kale and his crew, calculating risks and suggesting corrections. Hours passed, tension building with every moment. When the device finally synced with the ship's systems, the Starling pulsed with energy, glowing faintly and vibrating with new strength. The results were immediate. Engine output increased significantly. Shields became stronger, and weapons could fire farther and more accurately. The Starling, once the weakest ship in the station, now rivaled vessels considered superior by the galaxy. Kale knew it was time to test the ship against real opposition. Reports came in of an alien armada moving through nearby space, larger and more organized than anything Kale had faced. The human colonies were at risk, and the Starling, despite its size, was their only hope. The Starling approached the armada cautiously. Kale studied their formation. Hundreds of ships, sleek and heavily armed, advanced in tight ranks. They believed humans would flee, that a single, small ship posed no threat. Kale smiled. Humans were masters of turning weakness into strength. He devised a strategy that relied on unpredictability. Instead of attacking head-on, he split the Starling's energy into multiple, smaller bursts, using the crystals and AI to create decoy signals. Alien sensors detected false targets, firing at nothing while the Starling maneuvered unseen. Kale and his crew moved like shadows, striking at weak points, evading counters, exploiting gaps in the formation. Hours turned into a tense battle. The alien commanders were bewildered. No human had ever fought this way. The Starling, small and seemingly insignificant, dodged attacks that should have destroyed it, counterattacked with precision, and adapted constantly. Every move was a combination of human intuition and advanced technology. One by one, the alien ships began to retreat. Their confidence shattered. They underestimated the human spirit, the courage, creativity, and determination that could not be measured in firepower or size. The Starling had become a symbol of that spirit, a warning to all who thought humans could be ignored. After the battle, Kale and his crew hovered near a destroyed alien command ship. Inside, they found data logs revealing plans for a larger invasion. The aliens had intended to conquer multiple human colonies, believing them defenseless. The logs also contained information about other ancient technology. Hidden in distant sectors, Kale realized that the galaxy was far larger and more dangerous than he had imagined. The Starling, despite its power, would need allies, clever strategies, and constant adaptation to survive. But he also knew humans could rise to any challenge. "We've only scratched the surface," Kale said to his crew. "There's more out there. More danger. More opportunity. And we're going to face it head on." The crew nodded, their determination matching his own. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they thrived on being underestimated. Every victory, every clever maneuver, every risk taken was a lesson for the galaxy. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and unstoppable when pushed to their limits. Kale looked out at the stars, the vast unknown stretching endlessly before him. The Starling pulsed beneath him, alive and strong, ready for the battles ahead. He knew the aliens would return, larger and more prepared. But Kale was no longer just a gambler who won a junk ship. He was a captain, leading a crew, commanding a vessel that defied expectations. And he knew one truth above all: the galaxy had not seen the last of humanity. The Starling, once dismissed as worthless, had become a beacon of hope, ingenuity, and courage. The journey ahead was dangerous, filled with challenges that could destroy them at any moment. But Kale and his crew were ready. They had learned to trust each other, to rely on human creativity, and to push beyond limits. As they charted a course toward the next sector, Kale couldn't help but smile. The adventure had grown larger, the stakes higher, and the galaxy more unpredictable. But that was exactly where humans thrived: in chaos, danger, and opportunity. The Starling glowed faintly as it accelerated, weaving past stars and debris, heading toward the unknown. Kale's eyes shone with determination. The galaxy had underestimated him, underestimated humanity, and underestimated the Starling. That mistake would be remembered, and this was only the beginning. Kale's Starling soared through the uncharted sector. its hull glowing faintly from the crystals and the alien device integrated into its systems. The vastness of space stretched endlessly ahead, filled with stars, nebulae, and hidden dangers. Kale's mind raced as he reviewed the data recovered from the destroyed alien command ship. The invasion plans were far larger than anyone had imagined. Entire human colonies were at risk, and the aliens had technology that could overwhelm the Starling and any fleet of human ships if left unchecked. Kale turned to his crew, each one tense but ready. "This is it," he said. "The next wave is coming. Bigger, smarter, and faster. But we have what they don't: creativity, adaptability, and courage. Humans can turn the impossible into reality. Remember that." Mara, the engineer, nodded as she adjusted the energy output of the Starling's shields. "We can handle them, Captain. The crystals and AI are working perfectly together. We just need to strike at the right moment." Tal, the navigator, studied the star charts, plotting a course that would give them a strategic advantage. "There's an asteroid belt nearby. We can use it for cover, set traps, and confuse their targeting systems. They won't expect it." Kale smiled. "Exactly. Let's show them why humans are never predictable." As they approached the sector where the alien armada was reported, the sensors detected the massive fleet. Hundreds of ships, arranged in a tight formation, blocked the passage to the human colonies. The armada's presence was overwhelming, a wave of advanced technology ready to crush any opposition. The Starling's AI calculated every possibility, every angle, every potential threat. "Captain," it said in its calm digital voice, "we can engage. Probability of survival is low if we attack directly. Strategy must rely on deception and agility." Kale's eyes gleamed. "Then we won't attack directly. Humans survive by being unpredictable. Prepare the decoy systems, energy diversions, and traps. We fight smart, not just hard." The Starling darted toward the asteroid belt, weaving between massive rocks and debris fields. The alien armada followed, confident that the small ship posed no threat. But Kale had laid a plan. Using the crystal's energy, the Starling emitted multiple false energy signatures. Creating ghost targets that mimicked its size, speed, and trajectory, the alien sensors locked onto the decoys. Firing blindly into the field of asteroids, Kale maneuvered the Starling carefully, exploiting every distraction. Mara directed energy bursts from hidden weapon pods, hitting vulnerable points on the enemy ships. Tal guided them through the asteroid field, anticipating enemy maneuvers and adjusting their course to avoid fire. The crew moved in perfect harmony, combining instinct, skill, and technology in a way no alien commander had ever expected. The aliens became frustrated, their formations breaking apart as the Starling struck from unexpected angles. Every attack was calculated, every escape precise. The small ship danced between danger and opportunity, turning the asteroid field into a battlefield that only a human crew could dominate. Amid the chaos, Kale noticed something extraordinary. The alien device integrated into the Starling was reacting to the energy from the crystals. It seemed to amplify the AI's calculations, improving shield efficiency and engine responsiveness. The Starling wasn't just surviving, it was adapting. It's becoming stronger and faster as the battle progressed. "Captain," the AI said, "the device is stabilizing our energy output. Shields at maximum efficiency. Engines at peak performance. Weapon systems enhanced. Probability of survival increased significantly." Kale grinned. "Then let's finish this. Time to turn the tide." He directed the Starling toward the center of the alien fleet. Using a combination of decoys, sudden maneuvers, and focused energy blasts, they struck at the command ships, disrupting communications and coordination. The alien admirals tried to respond, but the unpredictability of human strategy left them disoriented. Ships collided, systems overloaded, and confusion spread through the ranks. The Starling's small size became an advantage. While larger ships struggled to navigate the asteroid field and avoid the decoys, Kale's crew moved with precision, hitting targets that others could not reach. Every move was a statement. Humans were clever, resourceful, and unafraid to take risks. Hours passed. The alien fleet began to retreat. They had underestimated the Starling and its human crew. What they saw as a single weak ship had become a force capable of outsmarting hundreds of advanced vessels. The human colonies previously in danger were now safe at least for the moment. Kale and his crew didn't celebrate. There was no time for rest. The data recovered from the alien command ships revealed plans for an even larger fleet, one that would require more than strategy and ingenuity. It would require allies, preparation, perhaps even more hidden technology. As the Starling drifted through the aftermath of the battle, Kale reviewed the logs. There were references to ancient human-made outposts hidden across distant sectors, each containing technology that could give humans a fighting chance against the galaxy's most powerful forces. "This is bigger than we thought," Kale said quietly to his crew. "The galaxy isn't just a place to survive. It's a place to prove that humans can rise, adapt, and thrive no matter the odds. These outposts, they could be the key to our survival and the survival of all human colonies." Mara studied the coordinates. "We can reach them, but it's dangerous. The alien forces will be looking for us now. They won't forget the Starling." Kale nodded. "Then we move smart, stay unpredictable, and keep pushing. Humans never quit. We never back down. The galaxy thinks we're weak, but it hasn't seen what we're capable of yet." The Starling accelerated toward the first outpost, weaving through asteroid fields and abandoned debris to avoid detection. The AI calculated dozens of routes, each designed to minimize risk and maximize surprise. Kale relied on instinct as well, anticipating ambushes and adjusting strategies on the fly. When they finally arrived, the outpost was ancient, built from materials Kale didn't recognize. It had long been abandoned, but the signs of advanced technology were everywhere. Hidden panels, encrypted systems, and energy nodes suggested it had been left for humans. Perhaps as a safeguard by their ancestors, Kale and his crew explored cautiously. The systems responded to human input, recognizing the Starling and its crew. Energy conduits powered up, consoles hummed to life, and a map appeared, showing the locations of other outposts scattered across the galaxy. These outposts contained technology, weapons, and knowledge that could level the playing field against the alien fleets. "This changes everything," Mara said, awe in her voice. "With this, humans can fight on equal terms, maybe even gain the advantage." Kale nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "We'll use this wisely. Every outpost, every piece of technology will help protect humanity and prove that we're more than just survivors. We're innovators, strategists, and warriors. And the galaxy will remember that." The Starling became more than a ship that day. It was a beacon of human potential, a vessel that combined ingenuity, courage, technology in ways the galaxy had never seen. Kale's crew understood the significance. They weren't just fighting to survive. They were shaping the future, showing that humans could thrive even in the face of overwhelming odds. As they left the outpost, the AI warned of movement in the sector. A new alien fleet, larger and more organized than before, was approaching. They had tracked the Starling's actions and were intent on eliminating the humans before they could reach the other outposts. Kale's eyes narrowed. "Then we prepare. They want to fight, and we'll give them one in our terms." The Starling pulsed with energy, engines humming, shields glowing, and systems fully operational. Kale's crew manned their stations, hearts steady, hands ready. The galaxy had challenged humans, thinking they were weak and insignificant. But humans thrived on challenges. They adapted, learned, and overcame. The approaching fleet would soon learn that the Starling was no ordinary ship. It was a human creation, enhanced by ancient technology, driven by determination, and piloted by a captain who refused to accept limits. The battle ahead would be the greatest they had ever faced. But Kale knew one truth. Humans survived not by strength alone, but by courage, creativity, and the relentless spirit that refused to surrender. As the first ships of the alien armada appeared on sensors, Kale took a deep breath. The Starling accelerated, weaving through space with precision, ready to strike before the enemy could even react. Every maneuver was calculated, yet unpredictable. Every attack daring yet precise. The Starling was a symbol of human ingenuity, a small ship with a heart that could challenge empires. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. That mistake would be remembered. Kale's Starling glided through the darkness of space, engines pulsing with the energy of the crystals and alien device. The human crew manned their stations, calm yet tense, knowing that what awaited them was the largest and most dangerous alien fleet they had ever faced. Reports from the outposts confirmed it. Hundreds of alien warships were converging on the sector, intent on crushing humanity before they could recover. Kale looked at his crew. "This is it," he said quietly, "the moment the galaxy will remember. The aliens think we're weak, unprepared, and reckless. They're about to learn what humans are really made of." Mara adjusted the energy flow to the Starling's shields. "The crystals are stable," she said. "Weapons are charged. The ship is at full capacity." Tal, the navigator, studied the fleet's formation on the display. "They're coordinated, but they don't understand our strategy. If we use the asteroid fields and energy diversions, we can break their ranks and create openings." Kale nodded. Humans survived by adapting, by using their minds and instincts in ways no other species could predict. He trusted his crew and the Starling to do what others said was impossible. The fleet came into view, stretching across the void like a living storm. The lead ships were massive, bristling with energy weapons, shields glowing with force fields that could crush most vessels instantly. They moved with precision, but Kale knew that precision could be used against them. Humans thrived on unpredictability. "Engage the decoys," Kale ordered. "Deploy energy diversions and split signals. Make them think the Starling is everywhere at once." The AI executed the commands flawlessly, pulsing the Starling's energy to create multiple ghost signals. Alien sensors locked onto the decoys, firing into empty space, while Kale maneuvered his ship through gaps in the fleet. He used the asteroid belt nearby to conceal movements, weaving between rocks, debris, and shadows. The first attacks hit true. Mara directed concealed weapon pods at vulnerable alien ships, targeting engines and communications arrays. Tal guided the Starling with unmatched precision, anticipating enemy maneuvers and dodging blasts that would have destroyed a normal ship. The aliens were confused, the formations breaking apart as they struggled to adapt to a threat they could not predict. Kale's mind raced. Every decision mattered. Every move could save or destroy his crew. He coordinated strikes that exploited weaknesses in the enemy fleet, using the Starling's enhanced systems to amplify speed, shields, and weaponry. The crystals pulsed, the alien device glowed, and the AI calculated angles faster than any human could. Yet Kale's instinct guided the final decisions. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by alarms and the hum of the Starling systems. The alien admirals realized too late that the humans were not what they expected. One by one, their ships were disabled, forced to retreat, or destroyed. The Starling, though small and seemingly fragile, became a whirlwind of strategy and firepower. Amid the chaos, Kale noticed a squadron of elite alien ships trying to flank the human colonies. If they succeeded, countless lives would be lost. He turned to Mara. "We can't let them get through. Full power to shields and weapons. I'm going in close." Mara hesitated. "Captain, its risky close range could destroy us." Kale smiled faintly. "Humans survive risk. It's what we do." The Starling surged forward, weaving through enemy fire with unbelievable agility. The crystals amplified engine output, the AI predicted enemy targeting, and the alien device stabilized every system. The elite squadron fired relentlessly, but the Starling dodged, counterattacked, and neutralized each ship with precision. The human colonies were safe, at least for now. Kale's crew shouted in triumph, but there was no time to celebrate. The alien flagship, larger than anything Kale had seen, emerged from the fleet's center. It was heavily shielded, armed with energy cannons capable of destroying planets, and commanded by an alien admiral whose reputation for ruthlessness was known across sectors. "Everyone ready?" Kale asked. His crew nodded. "This is it." We show them the human spirit. The Starling moved in ways no one expected. Kale used decoys, rapid maneuvers, and sudden changes in direction to confuse the flagship's targeting systems. Mara directed energy bursts precisely where shields were weakest. Tau guided the ship through a pattern that used the asteroid. Belt as cover while launching long-range attacks. The alien admiral realized the danger too late. The Starling, small and nimble, struck at the flagship's weak points, disabling weapons and communications. Each hit was calculated, each movement daring. The alien fleet watched in disbelief as a single human ship turned the tide of battle. Kale felt the Starling respond beneath him, almost alive, pulsing with energy as it adapted to every move, every threat. The crystals and alien device worked in perfect harmony with human skill, creating a synergy no alien technology could predict. Hours passed. The flagship faltered. Other alien ships retreated or were destroyed. Kale and his crew pushed forward, striking relentlessly, demonstrating courage, ingenuity, and determination. The galaxy had thought humans weak, but they were wrong. Humans thrived on challenges, on danger, on the impossible. Finally, the flagship's systems failed. The alien admiral sent a final message conceding defeat and ordered a full retreat. The remaining fleet scattered, leaving the Starling and its human crew victorious. The human colonies were safe, the sector secure, and the galaxy had witnessed the power of human ingenuity. Kale exhaled, leaning back in his seat. His crew cheered, laughter and relief filling the Starling. But Kale's mind was already on the next step. The data from the outposts indicated other ancient technology hidden across the galaxy. This victory was monumental, but it was only the beginning. The Starling, once mocked as the worst ship in the station, now pulsed with life, energy, and purpose. It was no longer just a vessel. It was a symbol of human potential, creativity, and courage. Every crystal, every system, every decision had combined to turn a relic into a legend. Kale addressed his crew. "We've done something incredible, but we can't stop here. Humans are underestimated everywhere. We have a chance to protect our colonies, recover lost technology, and show the galaxy that we are not to be ignored. Are we ready?" They nodded, determination shining in their eyes. Humans never backed down. They thrived on challenges, turning weakness into strength, fear into courage. The Starling and its crew were living proof. Kale plotted a course toward the next outpost. The galaxy stretched before them, vast, dangerous, and full of opportunity. He thought of every human who had been dismissed, underestimated, or laughed at. They would see what humans were capable of: ingenuity, bravery, and the relentless will to survive as they jumped into faster-than-light travel. The Starling's hull glowed with the energy of the crystals and the alien device. It pulsed like a heartbeat, a signal to the galaxy that humans were no longer to be ignored. The Starling was a warning and a promise. Underestimate humans at your own peril. Kale looked at the stars ahead. The battles had been won, but the journey had only begun. Across the galaxy, humans would rise, adapt, and thrive, proving time and again that intelligence, courage, and creativity were more powerful than any weapon. The Starling had started as a junk ship, but now it carried a legacy, the human spirit in the distance. New fleets moved, new dangers awaited, and new opportunities called. But Kale and his crew were ready. Humans survived where others would fail. They innovated, adapted, and persevered. And now, with the Starling, it would shape the galaxy in ways no one had imagined. The Starling accelerated, weaving through the stars, alive with power and purpose. Kale's eyes shone with determination. The galaxy had learned one lesson: humans were unstoppable, unpredictable, and unforgettable. The adventure would continue. The stakes would grow higher. The galaxy would never forget the story of the Starling, the ship that was the worst in the station. Until it became a legend, and Kale, once a gambler with one last credit, had become a hero, a captain, and a symbol of humanity's limitless potential. The galaxy had been tested, and humanity had triumphed.